Hello, today we're gonna be talking about female clothing in games and what is too little and too much. And this is actually a conversation that's really hard for me to have because I do have some videos like, for example, 5 ways how Final Fantasy XIV's Vera is different from Final Fantasy XII's and other Final Fantasy XIV races, where a lot of people thought that I have very SJW attitudes. I don't. However, this is the picture of Final Fantasy XIV Vera that was used to advertise in the game, and to me it looks like this. A cheap game. A cheap cash grab game. Because I kinda got used to associating boobs with cash grab. Because what do you do when you do not actually have a good product? You put boob on it. You put the boob on it and you go, here we go, we are having, super awesome ladies in our game, and click in it and go, 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 bye, 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 play, 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 sort of thing. Oftentimes these things aren't even games, they're just asking for your credit card details before you can even get to the said game, or the game itself will have absolutely nothing in common with what the advertisement portrays. It's just a thing that got stuck in my mind, which is associating, let me repeat, boobs with cheap cash grab games. It's not that I have anything against boobs in particular, it's the fact that I didn't want Final Fantasy XIV to advertise itself with what, to me, looks like hookers, because I believe that the game is above that. You can go too much to the other side. Cue Mortal Kombat 11 montage. So yeah, on the right, you see, I think it's Sonya. Is it Sonya or is it Cassie Cage? It's really hard to tell for me. I think it's Sonya. So, on the right, you see beautiful boobs. Honestly, I think she could do with a zip up, but she looks a lot prettier than the girl on the left that looks like she may have done cocaine and lost her tits entirely. Like, something about her model looks old, looks tired, and looks off. And I can look really tired in real life. I can look really unattractive. I still have my breasts. They don't just fall off. And at the same time, if I am playing a game, unless the unattractiveness is the point, I would be more attracted to the game where whoever I'm playing with is kinda a more perfectionist version of a man or a woman, because you just feel better when your avatar looks prettier. Once again, you have no idea how often I spend just going through my closet in MMOs and picking pretty and nice clothes because I want my character to look attractive. So when I'm pre-positioned with something like what Mortal Kombat 11 did, with those costumes, those characters, those body proportions, I'm less likely to play. This is the one that does the blood thing. I am sorry, I don't play Mortal Kombat 11 at all. I played some Mortal Kombats and names just really escape me. My husband likes to play fighting games. So, on the left you see pretty, on the right you see an Arab. I don't know, why did she have to have her face and hair covered, among other things? I also think that she's one of those characters where she absorbs blood through the skin, if I remember her correctly, which means that the more covered up she is, the less blood she can absorb, which honestly really doesn't make sense for her as a character. I don't believe that the version on the left looked cheap or hookerish, honestly. She was on the front cover of the game, and it said, play Mortal Kombat, then I would actually maybe mistake it with a Facebook ad and go, wow, that's a shit game probably. But if that's like her extra outfit in game, or she's among other characters that are drawn in similar styles, I would be like, oh, okay, it's a fighting game. She doesn't look that cheap on her own. And we have Jade. I don't like either versions of her, honestly, because on the left, for me, she looks like she's wearing a beach bikini. I feel like the straps holding like her boobs in, they could be like pulled in more so that that gap is a bit less. And at the same time, on the right, you have a full body costume, including a face mask, because, you know, we can't show faces. Thankfully, we let this character keep her hair out, but we're not too sure about that. It might be too nude. It just might be too nude. It's the kind of prudish level where you're like, you too prudish. I was trying to get images from Tekken 7, and I found people's compilation of a person character named Alyssa and her costumes. And honestly, this is about the level of nude that I kind of like. In costumes where she has short skirt, she mostly has like a top covering. Or when she just has like her boobs out, she has pants. So it's actually what you would do in real life. You would try not to look like a street prostitute, but still look alluring. You would mix and match to be like in between completely naked and like fully dressed. And there are outfits of her where you can't just have her fighting in complete bikini, and that is perfectly fine, honestly, as long as you don't advertise the character from the beginning as with a bikini. You would give her some sort of easy to recognize outfit that would kind of be like her baseline, right? And you could honestly even give her the kitty outfit, or that white dress looks really nice, or the pink dress, and you would be like, yeah, this character looks cute. And then if the person playing her decides to put her in a bikini later on, that's perfectly fine. You can go nakeder than the Vera costume in Final Fantasy. My biggest issue is that they were using this as the advertisement content. I fully believe in the player's right to dress their character as nudie as they would like, as long as it doesn't cross like the rating line of the game. I mean, in Rust, we have people running around with their dongs out or their cooches out because that's the rating of the game that accounted for it, and it's not that bad. You don't see the Rust being advertised with a dong though. Like, you don't go to Steam and you like type in Rust, and you know how the little picture for the game comes up? It's not just dong. No, but there are dongs in game, which is perfectly fine, and there are cooches and triply boobs in game too, which is also perfectly fine. So what I'm trying to say is, I think whatever you do, don't try to be a Facebook misleading ad. That is too nudie and corny, and it's telling me that your game doesn't have anything besides boobs. I think the only time this is appropriate is if you're making a seriously sex-based game, because in that case, boobs is the focus. Try to avoid really weird jiggly mechanics, like if you can make your breast size the size of a melon, and whenever I walk 1 meter, it just like hits my character in the face 10 times, that's, you know that you have overdone with your jiggle. Like, it doesn't look like a human jiggle, it just looks like it's very uncomfortable and you're beating yourself up with your own body parts. Don't do that. And maybe don't go for E-sized melons, because honestly, even people that have them don't necessarily like them most of the time because they go dribbly really fast. Considered like A to D sized. Like D boobs look they look really pretty. They look like nice, succulent, and like big. And trust me, your players will like probably D-sized boobs. Then of course there are people that like A-sized boobs, and some characters will only look good with an A-sized boobs. For example, if your character looks quite young. If it's a young girl in a fighting game, okay, unless puberty has hit her like a truck, she will likely have a small boob size. If the girl is petite, a small boob size will actually look more normal on her, despite the fact that there are petite girls with really giant boobs, but it will look less out of place. And then obviously if she looks like a woman, then having A-sized boobs will sometimes make her look a bit like a man, because it will look like she has no boob in comparison to the rest of her body. Like, for example, take the picture like where she's wearing the bikini top and pants, right? And like remove the boob. Remove the boob and suddenly it may look like she had a bit too much Botox in her lips, is wearing a bit wig, and might be a man. That's why boob is important. Okay? That's why you want to have a boob. Mortal Kombat 11 made a lot of characters look a little bit like a man. I don't know why. They just had something against femininity, I suppose. So they went too covery. So when you get the right size of boob and it's not smacking your character in the face as they're moving, and you do not look like you're advertising a Facebook scam, and you just put her in a like nice dress, you know, or even jeans and a t-shirt, or any other combination of clothes, you probably have enough clothes. If you want the player to have the option to play with less clothes, that is fine. If you want to have the player the option to play with more clothes, that's also fine. Also try and make sure that it kinda fits the context. When you're fighting and you're doing a lot of moves, you probably will not want to be wearing like an armor suit, because that will really inhibit how much you can bend things. So generally clothes that get in the way less are good, unless of course you want to be a show-off. Like Alyssa's costumes 1 and 2 would be like really showy offy, because that skirt would be going everywhere and she's on heels, but at the same time that skirt's pretty short, so she will likely not gonna trip over it, so that's okay. But at the same time, if you're like going to war and everybody's dressed in a mech suit, do not send out a person in a bikini. For that makes no sense and looks really visually awkward. Send them out in a mech suit and let your players put in the bikini themselves through mods if they wish to do that. Or alternative outfits. Alternative outfits were such a nice feature in old games, and then they disappeared in favor of DLC. Have anyone noticed that? So yes, this is my full take on what I think is the appropriate way to portray females in games. Essentially, try using common sense. And I hope this clears up my past videos a bit. Too long didn't read, which is weird because you're listening to a video. Try not to look like a Facebook cash grab game, and at the same time, try not to put the woman in a sheet with just eye holes cut off, because that's no. That's just no.